What's going on, everybody? Ronnie DiMaggio here, product specialist here at BMW of Morristown, and in today's video we're going to be going over the top 3 customer questions that I, as a BMW genius or product specialist, get on a daily basis. So those 3 things are how to reset your tire pressures, or why is my tire pressure light on, why does my Apple CarPlay disconnect intermittently, or why does my phone disconnect intermittently, and why does my driver profile desync from the car, why do I get it and all my settings are messed up. That's a driver profile issue. So those are the 3 most common questions that I get asked as a BMW genius, and we're going to answer all 3 of those questions, as well as provide quick and easy solutions that you can do at home in your BMW for all of those questions. We are going to be using a car with iDrive 7, but most of these solutions, if not all of them, will be applicable to iDrive 8 cars as well. So with that said, let's hop in the car and get started with our first issue, which is resetting tire pressures. All right, so here we are inside of the X5 to address common customer question number 1, which is, why is my tire pressure light on? How do I make it go away? How do I reset my tire pressure? All of those things kind of lumped into one. So there are 3 reasons why your tire pressure light might be on. 1, you have a flat tire. Nothing we can do about that. As a genius or product specialist, you would need to get your tire replaced if it has a puncture, or address the flat in a mechanical way by replacing the tire or fixing it. Second reason is you got your tires changed recently, whether by a BMW dealership like us or an independent tire shop, and they didn't reset the tire pressure monitors, so they give you the car back with your 4 fresh tires, but it says tire pressures need to be reset. Reason number 3 is you haven't had your tires changed, you don't have a flat tire, but the weather's changing and it's starting to get a little bit cooler out. The air in your tires will become more dense as it gets cold and reduce their outward pressure, and so you can lose a little bit of tire pressure without actually losing any air, without a leak. So in that case, you want to add a little bit of air and then reset your tire pressures. In all 3 of those scenarios, you need to reset your tire pressures. So let's talk about how to actually go ahead and do that. Let's take a look at the screen here. So from our home screen, we want to click on the car icon, click on vehicle status, and then tire pressure monitor. What this does first and foremost is bring up the tire pressures. So it shows you that your tire pressures in this case are at 33 in the front and about 40 in the back. We're all green, so we're good to go. If one of those tires had low pressure, it would either be yellow or red rather than green as it is now, because we have proper tire pressures. So you just got your tire changed, put some air in because it's getting cold out and you want to reset your tire pressures. How do you do it? So like I said, we'll start from the beginning. Car, vehicle status, tire pressure monitor, click on tire settings, and then click perform reset. So you want to click perform reset, and it'll say, now if we want to look in the gauge cluster up here, it says resetting tire pressure monitor. And so now on the screen it says for tire pressure reset, drive off. So you do actually have to drive around for a bit to reset your tire pressures. It won't do it just sitting stationary. So in this case, you activated the reset. All you have to do is drive about 2 miles and the tire pressures will reset themselves. It'll be all good, and that light will finally go away from your dashboard. So that is how to reset tire pressure monitors. Let's talk about our common question number 2, which is how to fix Apple CarPlay and phone connectivity issues. All right, so common customer question number 2 is, why does my phone always disconnect from my Apple CarPlay or my iDrive system? How come my connection is intermittent or spotty, or it disconnects when I don't want it to? Things like that. So we get this question pretty frequently with cars that are a little bit older, maybe a year old. Very, very rarely does somebody with a new car have a connection problem. Most of the time the new cars just work flawlessly. But after about a year or so, sometimes they can get a little bit glitchy. That's because, just like any other piece of technology, your phone, your desktop computer, your laptop, the car's computer, every once in a while the head unit has to be reset, or the cookies have to be cleared, clear out the cache, stuff like that. So we're going to show you how to reset your head unit, and this 95% of the time solves any issues that you're having with a spotty or glitchy connection with Apple CarPlay or iDrive, Bluetooth, things like that. So if we want to take a look at the center stack here, we're just on our home screen, and to reset the car's inboard computer that controls this screen, the iDrive screen, all you have to do, and this is true of any BMW model, 3 Series, 4 Series, 5 Series, X5, whatever, hold down the power button for the volume knob. This also works for iDrive 8 cars. So we're going to hold this down for a couple of seconds, and eventually you'll see, as I continue holding, the screen will turn itself off. You can do this while you're in the car idling. as we are now. And you can see I'm holding for a little while here. You do actually have to hold it for some time, and the screen will cut off like that. Now we can release and let the car boot itself back up. Now, when you do this, you won't lose any storage, you won't lose any driver profile data, it will not reset radio presets, it will not reset radio favorites or anything that you don't want like that. All it does is reset the system, kind of like clearing your cookies in Google Chrome or the old unplug it and plug it back in solution. Works almost every time when somebody comes in with a complaint about Apple CarPlay not connecting properly or just the regular Bluetooth not connecting properly. This works really well. And as a side note, I've used this solution for issues outside of Apple CarPlay. Just a few days ago, we had a customer come in. For some reason, the FM radio was only the FM radio was working. AM, XM, streaming weren't working. Super weird issue. Just reset it and it worked fine. So any kind of glitchy issue you have with the iDrive system, which is not totally out of the realm of possibility if your car's coming up on about a year or so old or maybe a little older, go ahead and do that reset like we just did, and I hope and think that it will solve most of those little issues like that. Now, it's important to understand with this that some people will, they get a check engine light and they're like, oh, can I just do the reset? No. Unfortunately, doing the iDrive reset cannot reseal your head gasket, for example. It only works for techie issues like this. If your climate control isn't working, that's probably a service issue. If you have a check engine light or a warning light, that's a service issue. Just connectivity and issues that are exclusive to the iDrive system here. This is a great solution for a lot of those problems. So with that said, let's move on to common customer question number 3, and our last one, as we activate gesture control accidentally, is having to do with driver profiles. So let's talk about that. All right, so common customer question number 3, our third and final common customer question is, I got into my car and all my settings are messed up. My memory seat is not where it should be. My radio presets are wrong. My favorites are wrong. My settings are wrong. What's going on here? So this has to do almost always with your driver profile. So in modern BMWs, everything as far as your settings go revolves around your driver profile, which is linked to your My BMW app. And there are 2 issues that can happen as far as the driver profiles most commonly. There are more than 2 possible issues, but the 2 most common that account for 95% of driver profile issues are, for one, there's an issue with your key. More specifically, if you want to take a look at the center screen here, the driver profiles, which we can access by going to Car, Driver Profiles, are linked to each key of the car. So optionally, you don't have to do that, but most of the time at delivery, your client advisor or genius should link your profile to your key. To do that, it's part of the driver recognition. We don't have a profile loaded in, so we can't actually show you exactly how that works, but the driver profile is linked to the key. So let's say this was my X5 and my driver profile was loaded in, and this was my primary key. I would link my profile to this key so that every time I got in the car would recognize this key, and it would recognize it as my key. So it would load up my driver profile, which would then load in all my settings, my memory seats, things like that. So the common issue is you grab the wrong key. It happens more often than you would think, and it will, if you do grab a secondary key that's not linked to your profile, it'll load in the guest profile or maybe somebody else's profile that's linked to that key, maybe a secondary driver. So that is the common issue number 1, and the solution is make sure you have the right key for your driver profile, because if you don't, it won't load your settings. The second solution, and perhaps even more common than the wrong key issue, is that for whatever reason, you may have accidentally logged out of your driver profile in the car. You went in your My BMW app and you deleted the car from the driver profile or something like that. There was a bit of an issue with the driver profile in the app or in the car. Either way, solution and option number 1, and what you want to do to solve that is to go into driver profiles. You'll click on settings up here, and you'll be able to delete your driver profile from the car. So you want to make sure that you delete the driver profile from the car, go into your My BMW app on your phone then, and remove the car from your profile. That will kind of reset everything, give the car a chance to forget your driver profile so that when you load it back in, it will work more smoothly and hopefully resolve whatever issue you were having. So delete the profile from the car, delete the car from the app, give it a couple minutes, go back into the app, re-add the profile, and then, or re-add the car to the profile, and then re-add the profile to the car as well. You can do that super easily. Add driver profile via my BMW app. Scan that QR code and the profile will load right in. So that is how you solve most of the driver profile issues. It's all super simple, consolidated to one menu here, driver profiles. To add the profile, again, click right there via my BMW app and scan the QR code. Could not be easier. So that's going to do it for our 3 common customer questions. Let's hop outside and wrap up. All right, so that is going to do it for our 3 most commonly asked customer questions from a BMW Genius product specialist. That addresses probably 90% of the phone calls that we get on the Genius team here at Morristown. A lot of those calls are related to those 3 questions. However, if we didn't answer your question, please drop it down in a comment. We can address it either in the comments or in a future video. Speaking of comments, please leave one if you have any ideas for future videos, any questions about some of the solutions that we provided in this video. Anything else, drop a comment down below. We respond to all of our comments, and we're all very active on all of our social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. So DM us, leave a comment, drop a follow, all that good stuff, please. And if you liked this video and you think we deserved it, drop a like and subscribe to the channel. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.